Hey people in YouTube land, Zach Hall here. Want to do another Bible review for you. Today we're going to be comparing three single column text in the King James. And what I want to do is kind of give you some different options in the single column layout for the King James. Now, kind of a quick note, some heavy hitters we won't have in this list is the Cambridge Clarion, the Schuyler Traveris, and I don't have any Barber products, the publisher, to show you. A lot of Barber's text layouts have turned to a single column for the King James, and I won't have that as well. If I'm missing any other single columns in the King James, let me know. But these are three options that you can kind of get your mind around and see which style you like. Now, one of them is a study Bible, and the other one is a wide margin. And then the newest one is the one I just did a review on, and I wanted to compare the Thomas Nelson single column here to two other contenders. And essentially, kind of what I want to focus on mainly is the fact of just how readable this Bible is and compare the fonts, but show you also this Bible compared to some of my favorite single column texts. So we'll zoom into an idea of this one. So a verse by verse single column, beautiful font, very dark. Paper is nice and white. It's opaque enough for sure. Lays flat now pretty much everywhere. So there's Revelation. And then let's see if we can get to lay flat in Genesis. So there's Exodus, beginning of Exodus. There's Genesis 30. And this one is still closed there, so got a little bit more breaking in to do on this Bible, but for the most part, here's the end of Genesis, and that's at least staying open there. So by the time we get to Exodus, it's definitely laying flat there. And then once I get this broken in, it'll be even better. But you can kind of see the idea there. So with this Bible, you have a single column, verse by verse edition. That's going to be extremely readable, large font, 10-point font in this Bible. So just something that's going to be a great everyday reader, carrying, studying, preaching Bible. This is really could become one of my top 5 Bibles. I mean, I just love this thing. I mean, the layout's so perfect, so easy to read through. You read through a lot of scripture because it's in the single column. So definitely would recommend this. I did actually take some notes in this to show you how the paper holds up. And the smear marks there are not from the paper, is actually from my finger running over the micron pen there. So there's how it looks there, and then we'll flip the page. And you can kind of see it goes through, obviously. But I did not have any bleed through. So it is thick enough to use some micron pens in. Now, some of the, you could say competitors, I don't know that that'd be the right word, but some other single column options, put it that way. The Life Application Study Bible. This was my favorite single column Bible. And in many ways, it could probably still have that. I love the font in this. It's a little bit more modern font. It's more gray than the Thomas Nelson, so the Thomas Nelson is very dark. This font is definitely smaller. This probably comes in around an 8.5 point font, so it's not quite as large as the 10-point font. And just to show you a comparison here. So there's the text of the Life Application on the right side there compared to the Thomas Nelson. So you can just see the Thomas Nelson font's a lot bigger. Now the line spacing is pretty comparable, and this is in the Psalm, so let me get you more to a narrative section here. Okay, so you can see that actually the line spacing is, I mean, pretty good in both. It's pretty great in both. So whether you're going with the Life Application or Thomas Nelson, they both have great line spacing, both have great word spacing. I just love overall the darker font in the Thomas Nelson, but I do love for your paragraph readers out there. So if you like more of a true paragraph, so this is a single column verse by verse. but the Life Application Study Bible is verse by verse in the poetry sections, but when you hit narrative sections, it then becomes a true paragraph. So we'll hold this up here in, let me see, that's still some poetry. Let me get you a narrative here in the Gospels. Okay. So you can see here, there's a verse number here, verse number there, verse 24. So you can see it's actually a true paragraph Bible when there's not poetry or a letter or something like that. So it's formatted pretty much according to modern English. So when you have poetry, you're very much going to get stanzas, or at least verse by verse. When you get a letter, you're going to get verse by verse. But in your narrative, it is a true paragraph reader. And that's one of the things that drew me to the Life Application Study Bible, honestly, more than ironically the notes, which are fantastic. By the way, if you haven't seen my review, I do have a full in-depth review of this Bible, and I highly recommend it. But what drew me in first was the fact it was a true paragraph Bible, and I wanted a Bible that had a clean font, still had space to take notes, which this does, was easy to read. This is an easy to read Bible. It's not obviously as big of a font as the Thomas Nelson, but it is nonetheless, if you have good eyes, it is easy enough to read. The verse numbers are easy enough to find when you're preaching. And it really did the job. I mean, I really do love this. I go back to this Bible every once in a while, and it becomes my main Bible. But yeah, I've preached out of this, read out of this. It's a joy to read out of. And for a larger size Bible, now I'm not going to say it's not gigantic by any stretch of the imagination, so I'll put the single column on top of there. So you can see the Life App Study Bible is just a touch taller, but it is significantly, well, not significantly, maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wider. And then it's about, I wouldn't say double the thickness, but maybe 1/4 of the thickness more. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a giant Bible, but for the size it is, this Bible is actually tremendously light. I don't know how they did that, but it does feel really good in the hand. So this is another single column option if you're someone who loves this, and you can see how flat this thing lays. Tyndale, they have nailed the lay flat binding on this Bible. Wherever you're at, thing's going to lay flat. So pretty cool. And this one has references. Also, you have the study notes as well. They do take theological positions. For the most part, it's relatively a conservative study Bible. There were some parts in this Bible where it's probably leans more egalitarian in the gender roles issue compared to complementarianism. So if you do get this, be aware of that. But otherwise, I do find the notes in here to be generally warm, generally conservative, very well thought out, and very, as the Bible is, applicable to life. So I think this is a great single column option if you're looking for one. It has a blend of both worlds, so it has verse by verse in the poetry, but then also you get a nice actual true paragraph single column in the narrative sections of this Bible. Then we'll compare the Thomas Nelson here to a wide margin single column. This is the Note Taker's Bible. My edition is from the KJV store. You probably have seen this Bible a couple times. I do have a review on this as well. This is just a beautiful single column Bible with a really wide margin. Now this is also verse by verse. Let's give you a look at that. And then we'll throw up the Thomas Nelson here as well. Try to get out of the Psalms so we can have a narrative comparison. It's going to be a little hard to hold up here because the floppy cover from the Note Takers, but got all hands on deck for this one. So you can see the font is actually pretty comparable to being about the same size. Let me get a better look at this. So yeah, I just don't think I'm gonna be able to hold up both really well for you. Let me kind of crunch that down there. Okay, maybe this will work. There we go. So actually, I would say the Note Takers is slightly bigger. Looks like an 11-point font compared to the 10 there in the Nelson. Although you can see the Nelson is, I would say, slightly darker. Well, you could probably say it just is darker, significantly darker. Although the church Bible publishers and Note Taker, or the King James Store, Note Taker does have a black font, so it's not gray. It is a black font. It's darker than the Life Application Study Bible. I'll put that up here. So you can see now the chapter number there is pretty dark in the Life Application, but the text itself is slightly lighter to my eye than the Note Takers. So, and this one then gives you the ability to have a single column, verse by verse, with wide margin. So if you're somebody that loves wide margin, loves to take notes, if you're somebody like me, I mean, really, the Note Takers is a solid all-around option. You get the best of so many worlds. You get a Bible that isn't too big, so it's still very easy to carry. I can hold this in one hand, no problem. When you're preaching, you can hold it in one hand very easily. It's a great desk Bible, though, too. You get a single column read, verse by verse. Again, for preachers, for those of us who teach the Word of God or deep studiers, this is what you're looking for. It's got great margins, not only on the outside, but also in the inner margin there. So you can see as I lay this Bible down, we're about in the middle of the Bible, and yet none of the text runs in the gutter. Then you've got the wide margins to take notes. So this really is a great Bible in many aspects. So this kind of gives you an idea of this type of layout. So if you're someone who loves single column verse by verse, but you say, man, I really want to take notes. I really want to be able to write in my one Bible. And that's what I was going to say is the Note Takers is a great main Bible. If you ever want to have just like one Bible that you write in, take to church, preach out of, do devotions out of, the Note Takers would be a great one just because you can take notes and it's got everything else. Now, it doesn't have study helps, so if you're looking for a study Bible, you may want to go definitely more towards the Life Application Study Bible. But you can see here, you can take copious amounts of notes. And that's only on the first 2 verses. So I'm about halfway, not quite halfway, but I am writing a ton in there. And so this is a great Bible. I mean, I've used this quite frequently too. It's a great preaching Bible. I love to preach out of this Bible. Love to take notes, do deep study in this. But you don't have a concordance in this edition or anything. I think the Church Bible Publishers one does have a concordance now. So do be aware of that. This has just a couple blank pages in the back for notes. But if you're someone who says, man, I don't need the note space, then this single column from Thomas Nelson, I'm telling you, this may get my Bible of the Year award when we get done with 2022. I mean, just this text is so clear, so sharp, so crisp, it's dark. The ghosting's not bad. Now the camera picks it up pretty good, but this is line matched. So as far as reading the Bible, reading the text, it's not a problem at all. The text is well line matched. Now where there's blank space there, you can kind of see some ghosting. So the paper, obviously, it's not the thickest paper, but as I showed you, you can take notes with a Pigment Micron pen. And just look at that font, just beautiful. And so this is we'll compare it here to the Note Takers, show you the size. That's what I was going to say. So the Note Takers, again, it's about as wide as the Life Application Study Bible. And you see it is also taller here than the Nelson, a single column. And I'll compare this to the Life Application as well, give you an idea of the size. So the Life Application and the Note Takers are literally the same footprint. The Note Takers, this edition doesn't have the concordance, keep that in mind. So it is slightly thinner than the Life Application. The concordance in the Church Bible Publishers does add about 1/4 of an inch to the overall thickness. So it'll probably be about the same thickness of the Life Application once you put the concordance in there. But guys, this is pretty much it. I just wanted to give you guys, King James lovers, or if you're a TR lover in general, some good single column options for the King James. And honestly, man, I just tell you, really it's just to show you and shine off this Thomas Nelson Bible. This is just, it's just amazing. So here's some options though for you. Study Bible, if you want one in single column. Note takers, a wide margin if you want one in single column. And then this guy that has just joined the repertoire here. This awesome single column verse by verse. And this does have a concordance as well, which I did figure is a 78-page concordance. And you do get maps and everything. So you got a little bit of study features in there, but by no means is it meant to be a study Bible. It is meant to be a reader, meant to be something you preach or teach from, or you just take a lot of time reading in this Bible. So that's it. Again, the big ones that aren't in this are the Cambridge Clarion. That Bible would be slightly smaller actually than the Nelson. It would be also slightly thicker than the Nelson Bible, and it is a true paragraph, single column paragraph Bible, not verse by verse. So it'd be more like the Life Application as far as being actual paragraphed. And then in the poetry, though, I do think it is verse by verse because it's set up according to stanzas. And then there's a Schuyler Traveris, which is really a good reading Bible. I don't have one, but I've seen tons of reviews on it, and I've looked at it quite frequently. It is more designed for strict reading. It's not conducive to preaching. You can make it work. I've seen people and heard and talked to people that make it work as a preaching Bible, but it's not laid out for that purpose. It's mainly laid out for a reading experience. And it does a good job as far as that goes. So that may be something you want to check out as well. And the final one that I can think of off the top of my head that would be worth mentioning, there's two, I guess. Barber, the Bible publishing company Barber, they have a lot of single column options and different types of Bibles. They have devotional Bibles, journaling Bibles, different things like that. Those are all single column. Thomas Nelson does have a journaling Bible as well, although I don't love that single column as much as I love this one. And then there is the New Paragraph Bible from Cambridge, which is a King James Bible in paragraph, kind of like the Clarion, but it's a little bit bigger in size, width and height wise, but it is actually skinnier than the Clarion. So this is my review of some single column King James options, mainly comparing them to the Thomas Nelson single column verse by verse reference edition. So I hope this video was a blessing to you. If you haven't already, subscribe and press the like button. And if you have any questions, please leave those in the comments. I'd be happy to answer those for you. But other than that, guys, have a great night and God bless.